This message is for the people who use positivity as a weapon. I think some of you guys know where I'm going with this. I'll go ahead and explain. There are some people in this world who go around saying, I don't deal with such and such because I'm trying to think positive. And there's nothing wrong with thinking positive, okay? Because I think positive. But I'm also a practical person. See, I don't ignore what goes on in the world for the sake of just saying I want to be positive. There's some people that go around saying, well, I believe in faith, I walk in faith, and the Bible says this, that, and the other. Look, I read the Bible too. And I have faith, but I don't ignore practical situations. There are some people in this world, the minute that you call them on the carpet about a behavior or a certain situation, instead of them addressing it head on, the first thing they'll do is say, well, I don't think about that because I'm trying to be positive. Or I just walk in faith and I let God do what he needs to do. No, this is a situation you could have easily handled yourself. You don't even need any little supernatural power to help you with this. Or you don't want to admit that your role in this situation of falling apart. Very recently, I knew someone. I was familiar with them for a while, but until recently, I had to let them go because they were stuck in a situation that had ended a couple of months ago with another person. And they're still going around telling everybody within earshot, speaking in present tense about them. And I mentioned this in a previous audio about people who don't want to let go and trying to hold on to something that don't belong to them anymore. What this person has actually done is they have validated the fact and why this person leaves them alone by acting irrational, by going around talking in the present tense about something. This person has no contact with them. This is the level of total disconnect that the other person has had. They had had enough. They don't want to hear anymore from them. They don't want to see anything from them. And this happened over a couple months ago. But this person is still running around out here in the streets just as grown as you and I, talking about them as if they still belong to them, calling them their love and all this sort of stuff. And that person doesn't even talk to them. So I said if I talk to this person one more time, I always try to talk about other things. I'm thinking that it kind of wore down a little bit. And I said to myself, if they bring this up again, I'm going to start asking some pointed questions. And see, a lot of people don't want you to do that. When they go through a situation that they never really fixed or never really addressed, when somebody comes along and start asking pointed questions, that's when these excuses start coming up. That's when they start talking about trying to divert the conversation, talk about, well, I don't think about those things because I'm positive I'm going to have my way in the end. And see, that's what the end goal is for them. They want to have their own way and they can't, and don't want to accept the fact that things did not go their way. So they'll go around saying, when you person asks them questions about how they're dealing with the situation, instead of just saying how they deal with the situation, they'll start throwing up these little general statements like, well, I try to be a positive person and everything is going to work out. Not addressing the specifics, or I know that they don't mean what they say, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to, just sit back and wait, Or, oh, well, they belong to me anyway, so I don't know why they're doing that. Or I just have faith. I walk in faith. That's another one. I walk in faith that this is going to work out and God is going to give that person back to me. No. See, first of all, God probably didn't have anything to do with the reason why y'all got together in the first place. So why are you going to turn around and ask him to give you something that probably was not anything that he designed for you to have? Yeah, y'all heard me say it. You asking God to give you back something that he probably wasn't even part of the decision-making or choosing process for you to have when you had it. That's why you're not going to get it back. But what you need to do is just accept the real. I tell you guys all the time, you need to self-actualize, practice self-love, find your universal purpose so you can serve others, and do that. And when you spend your time doing that, and realizing that's bigger than this other little stuff, it's not going to bother you whether or not that person want to have anything to do with you. Because your mindset is going to be somewhere else. I have this attitude like this. First of all, I ain't chasing down nobody. I've already been down that road before, and it never works out. Every person that I call myself chasing after to try to make to be in my life, they're not in my life today. Because eventually, over a period of time, it dies down. Either I realized that's not what I wanted in the first place, or that person got sick of the pressure and left me alone. So I learned very, very early in the game not to chase after anybody that don't want to be caught. I don't do that. I have so many bigger things on my mind. First of all, trying to serve and help people like you. You that are kind enough to listen and receive this. Sharing my experiences with people to help them. That is way bigger than worrying about one person who does or doesn't want to be bothered with me. And it's not that I don't care about people. I do. But I just pick and choose what people I care for. Because people who are stuck on that ish, I ain't got time for them. Because my mind frame is not there anymore. You got to understand where I'm coming from and be an active participant, in the process and offer some support. And if you're not, God bless you. I mean, I'll pray for you if you're going through something. If I can offer some help, I'll offer some help. But I'm not opening no door for you to be a part of my life if you're not there yet, if you don't understand where I'm coming from. I'm not going to let you be an active part of my life. You can't. Because you're going to get lost along the way. So when you develop something for yourself, and this person that I was dealing with only hadn't really done anything for themselves as far as working on their universal purpose. I mean, they worship, they're God-fearing in the whole 9 yards. That's fine. And they go to their place of worship and do whatever, they need to do as far as that's concerned. But as far as like their day-to-day and their universal purpose, they're still talking about the same dream they had a year ago, a year before that, and still hadn't done anything towards it. And you run into these people all the time. I know you do. So when you start asking questions about that situation, instead of just saying, you know what, I know I should be doing so and so, but I don't know why I'm putting it off. I don't know why I'm procrastinating. Maybe I'm afraid to fail. Instead of just admitting that, they'll turn around and try to put on this defensive armor of positivity and faith and use that as a tool to kind of throw you off and shut you down. But see, that doesn't forget the fact that I know in my mind that you never answered the question. You can pull that mess on me if you want to. You can talk to the cows come home. You can quote all 66 books of the Bible if you want to in your defense. But at the end of the day, when you get through talking, I'll be like, but you still didn't answer my question. What about this? What about this? What about this? And it got to the point where this person got pissed off. I ain't got time for you, and hung up the phone. Now, this is one thing you're not going to do. You're not going to hang up the phone on me and get away with it. I can understand when people get upset. Now, if you get upset on a situation that's current and valid, then I'll understand. I'll be like, okay, they're just a little pissed off right now. And I'll give you a reason to, come back and say later on, you know what, I'm going through so-and-so. If it's a valid and active situation, this particular situation doesn't even exist anymore. And I was trying to get this person to realize that it's not real. 2-3 months later, you're still talking in the present sense about something that happened in the past with someone that doesn't even want to be bothered with you anymore. You just showed me loud and clear the reason why they don't want to be bothered with you. And guess what? Neither do I. Because you're not going to hang up on me because I told the truth. So, I wish them well and everything else. And I'm sure a lot of you have come across folks like that. You don't argue with them because their mindset is just fixated. They're obsessed. When a person gets in that mindset, you can't talk to them rationally about these situations. They're going to have to let their ass hit the pavement. They're going to have to hit the wall before they change their behavior, if then. So don't get upset with them. Don't engage in arguments with them or anything else, because they are inside their head. They're inside their feelings about something that should have been dead and gone. Then all of a sudden you're going to get stressed out because they done got you wound up. That's misery loving company. And your original intent for even contacting them had nothing to do with this situation. And then they were the one that brought it up, not you. It's too small and it's too petty, it's too beneath you. If you're listening to this, that means you've either found your universal purpose or you're working on it. You got to understand, your universal purpose is so much bigger than petty relationships. It is so much bigger. They're not even on the same level. You're talking about a different mindset, a different way that you spend your time. And the more that you get involved in your purpose, the lower tolerance you're going to have for this little petty stuff. You're not going to want to hear it. You're not going to want to be around it because it's beneath your mindset. You're above all that. So don't get stressed out behind it. And if the person gets upset about it, let them move on. That just makes room for somebody who is on board, understands where you're coming from, and willing to support you and doesn't waste any time doing it. That's all it is. All they're doing is just making a spot for somebody else better to come in your life. That's all they're doing. So just be careful when you run into people who use positivity and faith and all that as an excuse for dealing with their problems. Got to be careful with them. And like I said, nothing wrong with being positive and having faith. I have a lot of positivity and I have a lot of faith. But when there are issues that I got to deal with, I buckle down and I deal with them. And I always go to my Creator and ask for help on every situation. But I'm not going to sit here and try to divert the conversation by throwing positivity and faith in there with a whole bunch of euphemisms and prayers and all this stuff. The situation is what it is. So people deal with it. I ain't got time for your little games. And I'm sure you guys don't either. This is just another way for you to determine who you need to have in your life. Because see, you're in a position right now, if you're listening to this message, you're trying to level up your entire life. And as I stated before, you can't take everybody with you. And those are one of those type of people that you can't take with you. It's a hard truth, but it is what it is. So just be mindful of some of these folks. Just be mindful. That's all I'm saying.